guess, move on.
So it is after 7 o'clock. You can start the meeting, and if you'd like to reorganize first, Ken, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Let's hand the meeting off to you, and we can call for officers.
Nominations for chairman of the planning commission. Do I have a
Ken
nomination?
Farrell.
Ken Farrell. Are there any other nominations?
I
Hearing
move the
none.
nominations be closed and call for the vote.
All those in favor of Kenneth V. Farrell as chairman of the planning commission, acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 3-0. Nominations for vice chair of the planning commission.
I'll throw my name in there.
All right.
I move the nominations be closed and call for the vote.
Any other nominations? The nominations are closed. All those in favor of Mr. Larry Burns as vice chair, please vote by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the vote is concluded. Mr. Farrell will be the chairman. Mr. Burns will be the vice chairman.
Thanks, Mike. All right, we have the agenda before you. Number one, can I have a motion to approve the agenda for February 1st planning board meeting?
Make a motion. to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. I have a motion to approve the August 2nd, 2020 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Larry, was there a second?
Yes, sorry, yes.
Sorry, yeah. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, number 3, we have 43 Roosevelt Avenue preliminary land development presentation.
So, Mr. Farrell,
Yes.
in your packets, was all the documentation that we have to date, the application, letters, from all the consultants, on this submission, this current submission. So how would you like to proceed? Would you like to review each letter? Or do you want to start with the applicant?
I think let's have the applicant make a presentation,
Okay,
and then we'll hear from Chad. And then if there's any issues or problem, I don't need to go through comment by comment on all the letters, but
Okay.
we'll have Chad, chime in, and if there's any other issues in any of the letters. This application is just for preliminary, or is it for preliminary and final?
it's listed as preliminary.
Okay. All right. So we'll let the developer or the developer's engineer give a presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Arthur Hurling with ABP Investments. I'm here tonight to present to you development at 43 Roosevelt Avenue. With me, I have legal counsel with Kim Freemuth with Fox Rothschild and Jason Smealand, civil engineer with Lenape Valley Engineering. I just put together a few slides just to give you a background on the project. With a quick introduction, some plans. I did include all the review letters if we do need to reference them, waiver letter, the zoning, traffic review, etc. Jamie, if you go to the introduction page, just a quick background on the property. It's located at the intersection of North Girard Terrace and Roosevelt Avenue. Currently, the site consists of a single-family detached dwelling to Cape Cod and a rather large detached metal garage that's on the Girard side. The existing housing on North Girard Terrace consists of quadruplex apartment style buildings. South Girard consists of single family semi-detached twins as well as quadruplex apartment style buildings. So what I'm proposing is to remove the single family home and garage and build new construction twins, a total of 4 on the site. So if we keep scrolling through, we have plans and architectural renderings to give you an idea of what this looks like. So what you're looking at now is a color rendering of the site. Yeah, thank you for zooming in. So you can see that the new homes will face Girard Terrace. Each will have their own driveway with 2-car parking. There is one driveway that will be on Roosevelt Avenue, and that's actually where the existing driveway is for the single family home. We did propose trees and buffering on the site. Currently, there's this curb on North Girard Terrace. Our proposal will include a sidewalk that will connect to the sidewalk for the existing apartments next door. There's I guess a handicap ramp at the intersection that we're gonna redo. I think it's older, a little worn, so we're proposing to do that. If you go to the next slide, this is just a more of a zoomed in version just to give you an idea of the layout. So basically 2-car parking, sidewalks, some landscaping, and sidewalks to the units. If you go to the next page, or actually, I'm sorry, if you go back one, I'm sorry. At the back of the site, you can't really see it too much here, but behind the buildings will be our stormwater controls. Each unit will have its own seepage pit, and in the more formal development plans, that's spelled out. You can go to the next page now. This is a rendering of what I'm thinking. We're still playing around with the plans, but basically it's a twin home, 2-story. Each home will be 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. They'll all have a front porch for people to sit out front. Some stone will be put in, and the homes are approximately 1,600 to 1,800 square feet, kind of in line with some other new twins that have been built in the neighborhood on South Girard and the next street over, the Garfield. There was a twin built a couple years back that you may be familiar with. Each home will have a full basement for storage. And that's more or less it. So we're here to answer any questions or concerns that you may have. Myself or Jason, the engineer, or any legal questions with Kim. So we're happy to answer any of those for you. Those are just some side elevations there.
All right, Chad, do you have any comments, questions in your review letters?
I did, and I'd say for the most part, they can be worked out between myself and the engineer. There were a few I did want to bring up tonight, and actually, if I saw the rendering correctly, it looks like they may have modified it already to at least address one of them. Jamie, I don't know if you can go back to the color rendering. There you go. Can you zoom in on that a little bit? I would say the most impactful comment in my letter, and I believe it was also in your codes officer, zoning officer's letter, was that driveways need to be 5 feet off the property lines. And in the original design, the latest plans that we saw, they're roughly 2 feet off the property lines for lots 2 and 3. And then on lot 4, the head-in parking there, I'll say, was roughly a foot off of the lot 3 property line. And I do believe this rendering does now show them each 5 feet off, which would then accommodate the zoning requirement. It also looks like they addressed one of my concerns with regard to the lot 4 head-in parking. One of my concerns was if somebody wants to sit in their backyard on any of the lots 1, 2, or 3, the headlights from the cars on lot 4 would just shine right on them. So it looks like they provided some buffering there, maybe some shrubs where, I don't know if they're arborvitaes or something. And then additionally, if those cars were to back into lot 4, say in the wintertime like now, and somebody wants to warm up their car and you have all that exhaust going right into the lot 3 house. So that was a concern of mine as well. So that takes care of the zoning, assuming the next submission is going to include similar revisions to their plans. Another comment that I want to address is the requirement for building setback lines to be measured from the nearest easement line. And that is actually a Saldo comment or a Saldo requirement. So it is waivable if these gentlemen wish to request a waiver. I don't know if that's their intent or not, but certainly it would be needed in order to accommodate the zoning requirement for the setbacks. And then finally, the comment I wanted to bring up was with regard to the stormwater. And they provided what I feel is a good design with respect to what I'll call individual pods or basins on each lot. My concern was that each of those pods were actually connected and they would work as one total unit. And the concern would be if lot 4, for example, were to malfunction, it would impact all the lots 1, 2, and 3 stormwater basins. So I suggested a discharge or an overflow pipe that would run parallel to, I'll say, the alley, where each basin then would discharge out to Roosevelt Avenue, and where they're proposing to discharge into a storm sewer inlet. And again, from these plans, I can't tell if that was accommodated or not, but if not, we're certainly willing to discuss with their engineer any alternate methods that they may come up with to accommodate that. Other than that, Mr. Farrell, I believe the rest are either cleanup items or I'll say engineering items that we could probably work out between myself and the engineer.
Yeah, and Chad, in regard to the stormwater, yeah, we're looking at it and we'll work it out with you. I do like your idea of a bypass pipe, and we can definitely make that work. I'm just looking to see if there might be something different, because it does help if they all function together, but I think we can accomplish that with like a side pipe that'll allow for an overflow if the pipe still, if something fails. So it may be that it's like a redundant system where we have this kind of the same design and this separate pipe as well. So I'm still looking at that, but we're intending to comply. In regard to waivers, we amended our waiver request letter. There's 3 of them, and the waiver request for the setback to be taken from the from the property line rather than the easement. That's one of our waivers that we'd be requesting. We also had to request a waiver from one of the stormwater criteria. Stormwater management is designed to, or the ordinance is kind of one size fits all. And for smaller sites, some of the things we can't comply with in terms of how long it takes to release the water, but we're doing the best we can. And Chad, I think you probably agree with that. And then there was one more waiver request for clear sight triangles at the driveway locations. The clear sight triangles, I think they're kind of meant for like busier roads or whatnot. So I think technically we still need a waiver from that requirement. So I think there's just 3 waivers that we're requesting. In regard to the zoning issue, you're right, we did revise the plan to provide the 5-foot setback from the parking area. Your other zoning comment that we wanted to talk about real briefly is the screening of trash, the trash area. So on this plan, it's hard to see, but there's these orange areas that we're intending to have fences around the trash storage areas. In case we're not planning on storing it inside, but since these units don't have garages, we think we're gonna have to store it outside. So our intent would be to provide a fence. We may have some little more detail with landscaping. And then Chad, you were also right. We're adding some plantings along lot number 4 to provide the buffer. I haven't spec'd them out yet. They'll either be big bushes or arborvitaes. So haven't made that call yet, but we can work with you on that. And then other than that, I think everything else is a will comply, and we'll just work through them. So I think we're in pretty good shape here.
Those waivers were per your December 22nd letter?
Actually, I have a February 1st letter. Art, you have that attached to this?
Yes, it was attached.
Was it?
Well, it's attached to this presentation, which I don't think you all will have
Okay.
received in advance.
Yeah, so here we go, is the clear sight triangles is number 1. The volume requirement, it's related to infiltration. We did our infiltration testing, didn't have infiltration. So we're trying to slow the flow out as best as we can, but we don't want to create a problem where we're have a maintenance issue where our orifices would clog. So I think technically we need a waiver of that requirement, but I think we're doing the right thing in terms of the stormwater design. And then lastly, the engineering standard regarding the setback to be taken from, there's an ordinance requirement that says that your setbacks have to be taken from an easement line. And in this case, we have to have an easement over top of our stormwater area. So the setback would have to come from that, but we still have about 20 feet of open backyard, enough area for a patio and whatnot. And the stormwater bed is subsurface, so it's still usable area in terms of like lawn and whatnot. It's not going to be totally unusable or a giant pit or something like that. So we think in this case, the waiver is appropriate.
All right. Chad, do you have anything else in your letter?
I do not.
Want to discuss?
Not worth discussing at this time.
All right. And I assume that the rest of the comments are will comply?
Yes.
All right. In the McMahon letter, do I assume that all of those 5 comments are will comply as well?
Yeah, let me just check one thing here real quick. Yeah, I think we're good with all of these. You know, we'll have to revise the plan, and show some additional information for the ADA ramp, but
Right.
we're good with these. Art, you're good with these, right?
One thing with number 3, there's an alley back there. It references closing up the driveway access to the alley. I do know some neighbors, maybe 1 or 2, who I guess their frontage is on Maple Avenue, do use that. We have no need for it, but I do know there may be 1 or 2 neighbors that use the alley.
Do you have control over that alley? From the plans, it looks like you don't own that.
I don't own the alley.
So my question then would be, do they have any rights to close that alley or to put the curb in?
We can't close the alley if there's still people beyond you that use it. If you were like the end properties, then we could close it up to your property. But if people are still using it, we have to keep it open for them.
Okay.
As much as we would like to give all the alleys away to all the residents, we just
Right.
unfortunately cannot do that.
Okay.
The last letter that was in the packet was the zoning officer's letter. I assume with the plan revisions, that's will comply as well.
Yes, it is.
All right. Jamie, can you put the waivers back up? And then lastly, I missed the utility engineer's letter that was just providing electric service in accordance with the borough standards, and I assume that's a will comply.
Yes.
Chad, is there any reason why we can't grant this preliminary approval?
I have no objection to granting preliminary approval subject to the satisfactory resolution of all the consulting review letters.
All right. Mr. DeFinis, any reason we can't grant this preliminary approval?
No, but I have a couple comments,
By all means,
if I may.
yes.
On the McMahon letter, item number 4, to be determined by the Borough Electric Department. The LED lights. Type of light.
Do you
And I
have,
assume-
do they have a standard type of light that they're using, that they would provide us a spec, you know?
Yes.
Okay.
And at this point, it should be the type of light that the borough's using and installed by the borough contractor. We only allow certain people to work on the borough system. All right, so I can get all that and share it with you. Is that fair enough?
Sounds good to me.
And then the issue about the site triangles. If you go back and look at the plan, my concern would be any vegetation that they plant, that they're responsible for planting, that it not cause more of a site triangle problem. If you're coming back out onto North Girard Terrace with those trees up there, that could be a problem. All right, so the location of those maybe, and then the other issue is putting trees in the front yard when we're sending sewer laterals through the front yard as well. I know today's technology, trees probably don't penetrate like they used to, but there's always that capability that a tree could penetrate a sewer lateral, and that's what we want to try to avoid. We've seen roots from trees growing, if they can't grow into the new PVC type sewer laterals, that they go along to find the terracotta pipe that the borough has in the street, and then becomes the borough's new problem. So I would be, I'm not sure what we can do about that, but they would be two concerns that I would have.
Well, is it fair to say that Jason and Chad can work together so that the proposed street trees don't create a sight distance problem, and that the proposed utilities are shown on the drawing so that we can make sure that the utilities aren't in the grow path of the root system of the proposed landscaping,
I think
have-
that's fair.
and have the two engineers work those issues out.
Okay,
The reality is, if you're going to have street trees, they're going to be in the site triangle. Especially on twins like this, it's impossible for them not to be. And quite
Maybe-
frankly, if you want street trees, they're going to be near laterals too. It's either you have one or the other. It's if you don't want them in the site triangle and you don't want them near laterals, then you can either have them, planted somewhere else or a fee in lieu.
Or maybe we can plant them back further in the yard. Maybe, maybe not so close to the entrance, to the sidewalk. We can plant them up closer to the house or something like that. I mean,
Yeah, that's a possibility. We'll have to be careful because we don't want them too close to the house either.
I know.
So,
And if you look at the drawing there, you could so lot 1, if you took the tree by the house out and you get the one by the driveway, in lot 2, if you put that tree that's right on the property line between 2 and 3, move it over a little bit to the left, and then take the tree that's on lot 3 and put it over on the other side of the driveway. Keep everything away from the house side of the driveway. That might help with the sewer laterals, because you would think you're going to come straight in, right, from the street to where the house is.
yeah, that's right. So the one that's right in front of lot 1 is probably the one that is the most problematic for the laterals.
Well, that, and then the one that's lot 3.
Lot 3, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So-
Now, but the one on lot 3, we could probably move over because lot 4 actually is going to reuse the existing lateral. Well, it's going to tie in at the same point where the house tied in, the existing house. So it actually goes out to Roosevelt Avenue. So that tree on lot number 3 might be able to move over in front of lot number 4 because we don't have to worry about the laterals on lot 4.
All right, I mean, you guys can, I think you guys can work, you have a handle on it. We can work those issues out before we go to construction.
Yeah, and then the comment for the clear site triangle, probably the most important clear site triangle, there's 2 requirements, clear site triangle for driveways, but there's also one for the intersection, which is probably the most important. So, I mean, I know it's only a note on a plan, but I have a note on the plan that says that lot 4 has to maintain the vegetation in that area and can't let anything grow up. Right now, it's a big tree, so all you have to do is, there's no obstruction. And if there is, just have to take off some limbs. But so there's a note on the plan that you could always show that person in the future that says, hey, you need to cut your bushes down. The other good thing is, though, in this area, it's a pretty low speed area as well, which is helpful.
Are you satisfied, Mr. Finnis?
Can't hear you, Mike.
thank you. I always have concern about the trees and, utilities, especially if we have overhead wires as well.
Right.
So they were the comments. I know we want street trees as part of our saldo, but if we have trees and they're in the backyard, is that if we put trees up, we put trees up.
Right.
Sometimes they're not best in the front yard.
Understood. All right. Are there any issues, comments, concerns that we have for this subdivision? I guess not. Is there any reason why we cannot approve this tonight?
Do you want preliminary approval tonight?
Is there any reason for us to come back for final, or can it be preliminary and final? I mean, I'm hearing things that I'm don't scare me that I don't think we can comply with. So I don't know if you, I mean, we're happy to come back, but if you don't want to see us again, we're happy not to come back as well.
Yeah, I think we should just do the preliminary, Ken, because there are things that they got to work out. Chad is going to talk to them and all. Let's make sure everybody's, on the same page.
I'm okay with that. I
Yep.
mean, it'll be a Zoom meeting and the
Right.
final should breeze right through.
Right.
Yep.
Do you guys have the Montgomery County Planning Commission letter?
I do not have a copy of
I
that.
don't recall ever receiving it.
All right. Well, to me, that'd be more of a reason not to give you final approval, just in case they come up with any comments, so.
Ken, it has not been received by the borough.
Okay. That's what I thought, or we would have a copy of it, so.
Yes.
All right,
We'll follow up on that.
good. All right, Larry squared. Are you guys, okay with a recommendation? Do you have
Yeah,
any
I'm good.
comments, either one of you?
No,
I'm good.
Nope. Jamie, can you put the waiver list back up? So we'll act on the waivers first. There's 3 waivers from section 22-410 and 412H for site triangles. Waivers requested from the requirements to provide clear site triangles for each new driveway. Do I have a motion to approve that waiver?
That this waiver is only for the driveways, right?
Only for the driveways. That's correct.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I have a
Second.
motion. I have a
Second.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Opposed, the ayes have it. And then number 2 is a waiver from the stormwater 26-123B2 and B4 from the volume requirements related to the infiltration. And Chad, you're okay with this waiver?
I am.
All right, do I have a motion?
so moved,
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
aye,
Opposed, the ayes have it. And then the last waiver is from the Engineering Standards 108.1A, waiver to provide the building setback line measured from the edge of the proposed stormwater management easement, but they still have the setback from the property line. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a
Second.
second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Opposed, the ayes have it. So I would recommend we make a motion for preliminary approval conditioned upon review and approval from staff and the consultants and receipt of the Montgomery County Planning Commission letter prior to final approval.
I'll make a motion with everything you just stipulated.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
second,
Chad, Mike, Jamie, anything else to add?
Not on my end.
Not on my end. Thank you.
Not on my end, my concern about the trees. If they can go in the backyard, maybe it's a better place for them than the front yard. That's all my only
Right.
comment.
Yeah, we'll
Alright.
take a look at it, and when we come back, we'll let you know what we worked out.
As long as the
Okay.
planning commission is okay with street trees being in the backyard.
Yeah, I mean, we have to make it work because of the driveways, because of the utilities and their narrow lots. And I think between Chad and yourself, we'll get it fixed. So that'll be fine.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Opposed, the ayes have it. All right, you guys are good to go.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the ride home.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, we have number 4, which is the Bennett's Court preliminary land development discussion.
So I put this on just because they were looking to try to get on the planning commission schedule for this month, but they submitted a plan and they have a lot of work to do yet. So I just wanted you to know that they're looking to be on the next planning commission. If they don't get their plans into, Chad's going to need 3 weeks or so to review them. If the plans are not in probably the beginning of next week, I'm not sure they're going to make the next March planning commission meeting.
Okay,
So fair enough, Chad?
Yes, I agree.
So I just wanted to keep you abreast of what's going on there. One of the challenges is that emergency egress that they're having a hard time with securing that. That's only one of the challenges, but there's some others. But that's a challenge that, you know, do you want 18 homes or not back there? And as a cul-de-sac, you know, one way in, one way out, an option.
now our ordinance permits cul-de-sacs.
Yes,
So, you know, it's no different than J Drive. It's really no different than your area, Mike. 'Cause
right.
you only have one way in and one way out. And the Had House Apartments and, you know, a few other roads in the borough that is pretty much the same thing. And Mike and I were discussing this, and, you know, one of the things I thought of is, I don't know if it would be possible, but maybe they don't need a dedicated access, but they could just have an emergency access with a breakaway chain. That way, if they could secure that from the adjacent property owner, then as long as the radius for the cul-de-sac is big enough for fire trucks, then we don't necessarily need a dedicated exit. We just have an emergency exit. And again, I don't know if he's I know he was having issues with the permanent access. I don't know if the discussions for an emergency access went anywhere, but we have to be cognizant that our ordinance does permit cul-de-sacs, and that's what this is. So
So I just wanted you to know that that they want to get on the schedule, but I see that as trying between now and March 1st, knowing that we're here February 1st, and they're redoing their plan again. And the plan, Chad, like I said, Chad's going to need 3 weeks to review that plan. To do it properly and to be fair to the applicant and to the planning commission, 3 weeks is going to have to be the minimum. Correct, Chad?
Yeah, and my suggestion would be for them to address some of these bigger ticket items that all of your consultants have, not just in my letter,
Right,
but
right.
and maybe have another staff meeting and show us how they address these big items, or if they didn't, explain to us why they didn't.
And I'll throw that out to Jim tomorrow, you know, to have another staff meeting prior to their next submission. How's that?
I think that would make things go a lot smoother.
Okay.
good. All right. Anything else on that? Old business, Edinburgh Square.
So they started out there doing some work. They were given grading permits and demolition permits and grading permits, and they started to do some work. And then they put in some utilities in the wrong location, so they have to address that. The utilities have to be placed in the proper location as per the plan. And right now they're on a hold because the developer himself will not be back for a couple weeks. I guess he's away for the winter.
So the utilities were on the plan, right? But they just put them in wrong?
Correct.
Well, that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, the problem was they had it done without a permit being pulled, and nobody from the borough was aware it was being done.
Right.
So when it came time to put other utilities in order to avoid the conflict with the ones that were put in wrong, they tried to Frankenstein some things together, which we didn't approve.
Right.
So long story short is we went round and round, and ultimately the idea was to make them put it in right so we don't have to try to band-aid this.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
We've had so many round and round with this thing. Yeah. I think that's smart. We got to make sure it's done right, period, you know?
Right.
Good.
All right. Anything else with that?
No.
All right, new business. We have the 2021 meeting dates.
Just wanted to make
Um,
sure you all saw that again. I'm not sure if you'd seen it previously. But that's your meeting dates for the year, the advertised meeting dates.
Do we need a motion?
No, they were already approved by Borough Council.
Okay. All right, codification of the ordinance.
So Borough Council did approve the funding for codification. Just have to extend this conversation a little bit. It's time for codification, and going through the mechanism of codification, comprehensive plan, and some other things. Codification has to come first. So that's what we had that discussion. We were hoping for doing some preliminary work on comprehensive plan, like selecting a consultant, but that didn't make the budget, the 2021 budget, but codification did. And we secured general code to do that for the borough. And there was a sheet there that tells you what general code will do. And so codification will take place, and I'm sure by the time it's done, it'll be, mid to late 2022. It takes a while to get things done, but you're going to have a current code going forward. And every 10 years or so, it's time to do this. All those ordinances and resolutions that have been adopted over the course of time will be in their rightful section in the code itself.
That's good. And I guess if there is any members of the planning commission that feels anything needs to be revised, now's the time to redline it and provide it to the mic, or if we want to discuss it at one of our next meetings, redline it and provide it to the rest of us for comments. And that way, since we're making the changes now, we can add or subtract whatever we want to do. So if there's certain things you'd like to see incorporated, now's the time. All right. Feral cat ordinance.
So this has become an issue with several residents on several streets. We have some residents that are feeding feral cats. So we did a research of what other municipalities do and between Jamie and Kate and I, and we adopted a draft feral cat ordinance. And it's put some responsibilities on those people that are feeding these feral cats. One neighborhood has about 30 cats in it right now. And they're, of course, when they're trying to find someplace warm, or food, they're rummaging through people's, yards and properties and eating what they can, and hunkering down in spots where they probably shouldn't be, hunkering down. So it's become an issue, and we're gonna have to address it somehow.
So do you want comments at the next meeting?
Yeah, this is it's gonna be part of the process going forward. If you have any comments, let us know. We're gonna talk to Borough Council about it on Wednesday.
Don't we have to send this to the Montgomery County Planning Commission?
No, because it's not a land use.
Okay. All right, so assuming we have a meeting next week or next month or the following month, so just whenever the next meeting is for the planning commission, bring your comments and we can discuss them and pass them along to Borough Council.
Good.
Then we got the sewer lateral repair.
So this came up as a discussion item with other municipalities and along with I&I. So because of the fact that the borough is responsible for reducing I&I, we looked at this as one of the options. And, you know, I had this discussion today with my insurance agent. I now come to find out that if my sewer lateral fails between my house and the street, it's covered. So I was good. I was glad to hear that. But when a property in the borough is sold, it's going to be should be the responsibility of the property owner to have his sewer lateral televised to see if it needs any repairs. About 50% of the pipes in the ground in the borough are on private property. And the borough has an ongoing responsibility to reduce I&I, inflow and infiltration into the sewer system. And we do that, we're spending, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars on projects. We go out for grants and we get as much money as we can to fix our stormwater and our sanitary sewers. We have houses, properties in the borough who haven't touched their lateral from their house to the borough's connection since the 50s, since they were installed. They were probably installed with many of them with terracotta pipe. And from a reputable engineer, I was told at one time, there's two kinds of terracotta pipe. Ones that are cracked and failing, and ones that are going to crack and fail. So this is something that we thought was worthy to bring forward in-house.
All right.
What's the cost for that to the homeowner to do that camera thing?
Televising?
Yeah,
Well,
talking thousands or hundreds?
it's probably in the hundreds of dollars for a cost.
Unless it has to be repaired.
Sure, yeah.
The repairs are different, but it's not, there's companies that do it. You know, there's reputable companies out there to do it. There's large companies out there to do it. There's small companies out there to do it. But it's something that people don't, you know, when do they do it? When they have a problem, when there's sewage, you know, coming out of the vent on their front yard, or you know, exploding. There's a sinkhole somewhere, and they find out, oh, this has been going on for years.
Mhm.
So, you know, and I had a discussion with a member of the borough, and he remembers riding his bike when they were putting in the sewers and riding in those trenches, him and his friends, so that they could, you know, they could say they rode in the sewer trenches when they were kids. And of course, he has a scar on the back of his head from it. And I asked him when that was, and he says like 1957 or 58. So some of these sewers are, the sewer system in the borough went in the 40s and the 50s.
Yeah.
Hasn't been touched since on private property, many of them. I'm sure. I haven't touched mine since I've been in this house since 1987. You know, I haven't looked. Yeah, we've had it, you know, grouted or ground out once because there was roots growing in it, but we haven't had it repaired.
Same thing with this, Mike, the next meeting for comments?
Yes,
Okay, whether that's March or April.
right.
Okay.
Just a quick question, Mike. Is this something that any other area municipalities have in place already?
Hatfield Township does.
Do they? Okay. Thank you.
And other municipalities have something similar. Not all of them do. Many of them are going, it's something that's been taking place in the last, I would say, 10 years. It's been a movement.
Thank you.
All right, is there anything else for new business? There's no additional action items. We took action on the subdivision.
Correct.
Our next meeting is tentatively March 1st. Now, if we don't have Bennett Square in, are we not going to have the meeting?
That's up to you. If you want to meet to discuss these ordinances, that's fine. I don't think they're going to be ready at that time for any type of movement by Borough Council. During March, it would probably be further down the road. So there would be no reason to meet. We could hold the comments on those ordinances until the next meeting in April.
All right, let's plan on that, but if they do get their act together and they do come in for next month, then we'll hear it next month. So just be prepared with your comments for the next meeting in anticipation of Bennett Square coming in. Is there anything else for the good of the cause?
Enjoy the ride home.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Who wants to stay here? The ayes have it. All right, good night, guys.
Good
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Thank you.
Hey, take care,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye now.
Thanks, James.
See ya.